Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years, but only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
Morning, good morning, good morning to you. Oh my goodness, how did Barry White do it? I have no idea. I am still in the basement with my voice. There, I was back there pulling something up in another. Could you tell I was not like right here? It's so funny how we think we're fooling people. We're not fooling anybody. Now, I don't like that. There. You know those motion cameras, sometimes when they get blurry, just keep going, Lauren. Just keep going. Good morning and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Froggy. Okay, Lauren. And news as we speak, WNBA star Brittany Griner is apparently on a plane on her way back to the United States. Yes, that is the result of a 1-for-1 prisoner swap with Russia. International arms dealer Victor Boot was exchanged. And I don't know how. I mean, yes, I'm glad Brittany's coming home. Good for you. But there's that other guy that's been there for years. And I don't know, it just, how do you ascertain whose life is more important than the next person's? And he's been there since 2018. Brittany's been there since February. I mean, I'm just saying, I try to put myself in the shoes of all the participants to try to get a full understanding of something before I speak on it. But I don't know. That something just doesn't feel right about that. Doesn't seem fair. But what can we do, right? Let's just pray for them all. So anyway, welcome to today's installment. I'm excited about our guest. I'm giving him some chance to wake up because those California divas, y'all. I told you that's why I love Messenger. Y'all, you guys, everybody that comes on the show, I say, I only use Messenger for correspondence. Put all your stuff in Messenger. I will send your link in Messenger. And if your ass oversleeps, Californians, I'm going to call you on Messenger. And that's exactly what happened. So anyway, Martin Lopez is here. He was here years ago. But you've probably seen him all over the place. He's quite visible out there. The Curiosity Theory, the book, and he's about to release a second edition. He's got some other stuff on the horizon. But before I get him in here, let me get through the announcements. Let me see. I don't want to get in trouble. Yesterday was Wednesday, right? Yeah. Yesterday, a new episode of License for Love dropped with my good friend, Cowboy Jack Young out of Nashville. You can get it on iHeart. Every place you can get all your podcast fixes. Go and get it. Just ask your Alexa to play License for Love, the heartbeat in relationship conversation. Get yourself a dose of the diversity duo. That's what we call ourselves. Congratulations to my brothers, Triple Nickel. These guys have taken their brand from their kitchen table to the Kohl's franchise in 650 plus stores across the country. Proud to be a brand ambassador. You see, I'm wearing some of their gear right now. The book, it's out. Thank you all again for your support back on the 9th, taking this book aligned to international and stateside bestseller in 8 different categories. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. And last but not least, any of you want to go to Romania with us, there's still time to find out how we can make that happen. That's right. The Power of We Symposium is headed, supported by the United States State Department. We are headed to Romania on the Legacy of Hope tour in May 1st we leave. So if you're interested, get at your boy. And again, thank you to everyone for this weekend in Las Vegas for the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Awards. It was a great time had by all. That's the bell of purpose. I'm going to ring it on purpose because just like that bell has a ring to it, so does the truth. And I don't want you to miss any. I can't stand that blurriness. I can't wait till I get Martine in here. Welcome, won't you please, to the show. My sidekick. She's my version of Ed McMahon. Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Hey, girl. Talk about couldn't live without somebody. Her and what's in her. Cinnamon bun. I'm drinking cinnamon bun this morning. So anyway, let me get to Martine. Wait, what happened to? Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. I have his bio pulled up. Martine loves to sleep in. Okay, I'm going to quit playing. That isn't on there. I made that up. Martin Lopez is a speaker, author, and a coach in the personal development industry. Hold on. Excuse me. His book, there we go, The Curiosity Theory, is a powerful methodology that radically changes the way we look at life, the way we look at ourselves, and the way we look at each other. So during his journey, Martin realized that so many of his male clients were struggling as a result of divorce. And that's a big thing, big number out there, lots of divorce, even years after their divorces. Many men still experience guilt, regret, and resentment. This affects their careers, personal lives, and often goes unnoticed and acknowledged or dealt with. So that's what we're going to get into. He's a graduate of Santa Monica, the University of Santa Monica, where he mastered in spiritual psychology. Is that a thing? Who knew? He's got two great sons, Jordan and Diego, and his hobbies are music and Spartan racing. What in the world is Spartan racing? Wait, man, I'm going to figure that out before he comes. It's not a car, is it? I don't know. Anyway, Spartan racing. Why do I keep seeing like Kirk Douglas? Remember that movie? Anyway, I'm out of the loop, clearly. Martin.
Out of the loop. I love it.
What is Spartan racing? Is that a motorcycle?
What's that?
What's Spartan racing?
Spartan racing is obstacle course racing. So it's what I do is about a 10K run where you go through about 27 to 30 obstacles. So and the obstacles are you flip tires, there's like big A-frames there's like this rock that you carry. It's huge. Okay. It's like 80, 90, 100 pounds and stuff. So it's like.
And what part of all this do you consider fun?
It's,
I'm kidding. It's a challenge, right?
Yeah. Is it fun? I don't know that it's fun. It's hard. And, it's so funny you called me a diva today. I've never been called a diva, but I like want to unpack that. So I guess the part of me that is a diva, right, would be the part that gets challenged in that. It's like you really just challenge yourself. Yeah.
I love that stuff. I am not, as far as we were just talking about this last night, my husband and I, because before, I think it was in 2019, right before COVID, I made it all the way to the final round of Survivor. I was ready to go, and then got to the physical part, and I had to get my knee replaced. So they were like, well, reapply. And I did last year. So we were watching it last night, and I figured out the move. I did. I figured it out. Nobody saw it coming. I knew exactly what was going to happen. And Brian was like, Lauren, that's why you should go in there. And so I might keep pushing it. And I got an in now. Jax Young he has a good friend who cast on that show. And she's on the casting director. Yes, and when you're ready, I can pull the trigger. Then I got scared because then I was like, well, wait. Because I do well, but when I'm hungry, sleepy, and tired,
yeah,
me on a boat, send me home.
I don't think I would do well. I enjoy watching that.
I do too.
It's just I couldn't do that. That's just not my thing, But we all do things like that, like the stuff that I do, that people go like I would never do that, But my mom is, I think she's 75, and she
young.
Yeah, she is, and she's thinking about. She's like, hey, can we? Because they have a trail race, so she's like, can we do the trail race? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So
see, that's why that stuff is important too as we get older. But look, I have a little thing I do now since you were here last, where I dip out and I give you the I was going to say the client, you, the interviewee, just a personal moment with the audience, just to say hi. It might have been something I missed in the bio, but just to give you a personal time to connect, and then I'll pop back in. So how's that sound? Okay with you?
That's right. Go get the refill.
All you. There you go.
Hey, everybody. Hey, so my message is mainly for gentlemen, for men that have gone through divorce, that are struggling, that first off, marriage isn't an easy thing. You're going to change when you get married. When you get married, you're going to make compromises. You're going to make changes, and your partners are going to ask you to do things that you probably weren't what you were raised about, doing. And typically it's good. It's good. How we're going to raise the kids, how we're going to have the household, how we're going to manage our bills, all those different things. So we do change. Men change in marriage, and for the most part, it's a good thing. And as long as you're in the marriage, everything's great. But when you leave the marriage, when you're out of the marriage and you look back and you say, wow, I've changed, and I have habits. I have things that I do. Some are good, but there's some that I don't like. Some things that some ways that I've compromised, and I need to change that. Sometimes we find ourselves changed. We find ourselves not being who we wanted to be at the beginning of the journey. When that happens, we need to find a way back. And this is what I love to help men do, find a way back.
Okay. Well, before we get to the new you,
Yeah.
I'm going back to the you I knew, KNEW. See how I used all those news, everybody?
I know. Look at you. Get that bell. I got it. Bing.
Oh, that's the big one. That's the new bell.
That was a bell moment, bro.
New and improved since you were here last. It was a little call bell.
Yeah.
It's a big
We got
old
like a little dinger thingy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice.
I love it. Yeah. I wanted to get to one of the things when I looked into what was going on with you now that I was really impressed with is how you pivot. A lot of people just pull the covers over their heads. And I'm just going to say, especially, it didn't miss me, Martine, how you kept going. Now, when you're out there in the California area where a lot of this kind of work goes on, it's like a hub for a lot of events and things like that. Everybody knows everybody out there. And when you went through divorce, I've seen it happen with friends of mine, and it's just so unfortunate because a lot of the friends divorce the person, one or the other. Your whole social life changes, and then every place you go, they're used to seeing the two of you. Now they just see the one of you, and there's all these versions of the story. Yeah. Talk about, if you could, those early days, because I'm sure it was not easy. I think I even remember talking to you when it was fresh.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about you at first. I mean, because how can a person not after how many years were you married?
I'm 24.
24. So you're in the process still, right?
Yeah, I got it. I literally have like a week and a half
left.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
It's sad. It's sad. It's scary. But it's liberating. It's free. I feel free. There's guilt. There's embarrassment. There's it's everything. It really is both sides of the story, because there's the biggest part of me is happy. I'm really happy. But how do you be happy for yourself when you hurt somebody so much? It's like as people, it's like, I'm really happy, but I know I've caused this pain.
But wait a minute. Are you taking responsibility for this?
Absolutely.
See, that's what you don't hear very often.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't do that or can't do that. Really? So can I ask?
You can ask anything, brother. Anything. Okay. I'm completely open.
So do you feel you were the majority stockholder, if you will, in this marriage going south? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I take responsibility for 100% of it. Okay, so there's a difference between taking responsibility and being responsible. Like it's a tangled web, right?
Yeah.
It's like I take 100% responsibility. So there were things that I didn't know. There were things I said that I shouldn't have said. There's things I've done that I shouldn't have done. And because of those things, Yvette had an experience of me. Because of those things, I hurt her. Because of all that stuff, because of my ability to communicate, or to not, or my withholding communication, because the way that I was raised, because of the way I handled my emotions, all that contributed. So I'm completely responsible for how I contributed to everything. and I take on the responsibility.
That's
The
awesome.
responsibility from the other person's side is up to them to say,
True.
I take on responsibility. Then we can have a conversation that's an equal conversation where someone could say, and this stuff still moves me, you know. So if I cry, brother, we'll talk.
You know me
Is,
too,
is
right?
is that we can have a different conversation, but right now we can't have that conversation because the conversation, and I don't mean this is there's no judgment or blame on this. What I'm going to say, this conversation is, you did this, Martine. You did this, and I'm pointing my finger at you, and that's what's going on. And I say, yes, I did those things. Yes. What can we can we talk about that? What is it you need to say? How can we work through that?
See,
And
you seem to be a lot less angry than a lot of the guys I know. Because in my world, I'd say the last 5 couples I know that split up, that divorced, they were all heterosexuals,
Mhm.
and I am friends with all the guys more than I am the wives.
Yes.
And not one of them talks like you are. They were all bitter and that bitch, and
Yeah.
I'm glad to be rid of her, and they're not friends for the most part. So it's so refreshing to hear a different take. Let me ask you about this. What about and here we are in the holiday season.
Mhm.
Now you've gone through 1 or 2 already since you guys kind of split up. But what about with your son? How has this affected your relationship? Has it gotten, was it hard at first and then it got better?
With my kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make a note. Let's get back to that bitch conversation about
Oh,
with your guys, but
yeah.
I'll answer
That all the
this one really quick because I think that's an important conversation.
Yeah.
With my kids, there was a point I remember that I was staying at my friend's house, as we go stay at friends' houses, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm staying at my friend's house,
Right.
and he had a spare room. My friend can do. He had a spare room, and he said, "Yeah, just stay as long as you want." And I was sleeping on an air mattress because he didn't have a bed in the room, so I had to get an air mattress, right? And I'm sleeping on an air mattress, and that's coming off of a $5,000 mattress, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
You
what I'm saying?
too. Right.
Like literally, I live. My house is. I can get to the beach in 2.5 minutes.
I remember you used to post that shit all the time. Yeah.
So I went, from that to
Yes.
sleeping on an air mattress, and that was okay. And I was happy because I felt free and I felt like I could address myself, right? And then I remember getting up and then looking at the wall, and this was a house that was painted different than I would ever paint a house. And it just hit me like I'm not in the same environment that I've been in for the last 20 years. And I thought, I'm going to make myself a better person. Like it's an opportunity. Like if I'm going to do what I just did, it's got to be for a reason.
Yeah.
And not like a reason, like I have a reason why I got a divorce. And I have all those reasons, and I have 1,000 reasons. Right. And I'll tell you the reason I'm still divorced is I couldn't figure out a way to stay married. It's not that it's like, yes, I wanted a divorce, but I couldn't figure out a way back. I couldn't figure out a way to relook at my life so I can come back. So I had to figure out a different way of thinking. I had to rebuild my life. And I had to say, if I'm going to do this, it's got to be worthy. I've got to make myself somebody worthy of those 2 boys that they can look at me and they go, Dad, if I ever have to get a divorce, I've got to be worthy. It's got to be for a reason. It's kind of like you go, God, it's like you say, have a conversation with God and say, I'm doing this, but I'm not doing this to spite you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this to even spite myself, or I'm not doing this for any reason other than to make it worthy. And that was the moment that I had to choose to like have my life be about something. And not that my life wasn't about something before, but it shifted like the depth of what my life was going to be about in that moment shifted.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because just sitting here listening to you, I was like I said, I tried to put myself in the shoes. So I was going, what if Brian and I were to divorce? And I started getting ready to cry.
Yeah.
Sitting right here.
Yeah.
Right. You know why? Because the first place I go to is, what about all my dreams of when we get older, how we're going to walk into the sunset? I don't have to die alone.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. Talk about that part. You 20 some years, you planned for things that are still in front of you.
Yeah.
Now that's all changed.
Yeah.
So you're not only dealing with the left, the past that's changed, the present, which has definitely changed, but also all those future dreams and hopes and aspirations have changed.
Yeah.
So I love how you're using this. You got the shirt on and it's here on the screen, Men's Breakthrough. So it's never about, I say this all the time, you guys, it's never about just one thing. And God does not make mistakes. He merely keeps this shit interesting. So it's true. That's what he does. He keeps it interesting. You know, that's real. That's it.
Gonna be a clip for. That's gonna be a clip.
It is. I know. I'm so glad they sent that one through me. I love it. But it's true. So, Martine, tell us about how you pulled yourself back up. Because to help people through something, you first have to get through that very something. Talk about like your baby and you were crawling, but then you get to something, you say, oh, I can reach that. Let me pull myself. I can stand. Talk about that. What did you crawl over to in order to start pulling yourself back up?
Well, I would say I'll tell you the philosophy first, and then I'll go through the details. So the philosophy was kind of like Einstein's philosophy that that we can't solve the problems that we have with the same mentality that got us here. And I knew that. I knew that my way of thinking there was something off. It was like my way of having perspectives was off. I knew that the way that I handled emotions was off. There was just something off about it. Like I got my feelings hurt, Like it's funny. Like my feelings still get hurt. My feelings got hurt this morning. I mean, but I understood where my feelings got hurt. I understand the source of that, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna go back to it.
Okay.
So this morning I slept in, and I tell you, I put on my. I can tell you all these things, all the things that I set up in my day or this week so that I wouldn't sleep in this morning. My intention, and I always wake up at 4 o'clock and I meditate. I do, that I wake up at 4 o'clock and I meditate.
I know, I do too, but I didn't today.
It's crazy.
I
So,
too.
for some reason, and then you called, and then I said, "Oh my God, oh God," and then I said something, and then you said something, and to me, what you said was sarcasm, and it was a dig.
It was,
and so
I said, I'll tell you what I said. I said, Now, how did I know? How did I know
what did you say? Okay.
Well, because that was my West Coast diva thing. Always,
and it's totally okay.
You'd be shocked how many times I got to call those West Coasters.
But that's okay. You know what's not okay? It's not okay. This is what I learned. It's not okay how I listen is what's not okay. See, because I can go, fuck you, Lauren, and then I just go back to sleep. I could do that.
Right.
Like we can do that. And that's so why don't men reach out to each other? Because we have an agreement to go, fuck you. We have an agreement to say that bitch. We have an agreement to say that guy was an asshole. I don't need to go back to him. He treated me poorly. But we have becauses. We have a lot of becauses. And we use those becauses to get our way. We use our becauses to be a diva. We use our becauses to be justified in how we're acting. Because is the thought process that happens right before we give our explanation of how something didn't turn out according to how we said it was going to turn out, according to how we said our plans, according to our integrity. That's what because was. Well, I didn't do it because of this, or she did this. It's always an excuse. It's always some kind of judgment or complaint or something like that. And what I saw was that I was doing that for not just 21 years of my marriage, not just 21 years of my marriage, but since I was like a little kid, I had justifications for the things I did. I just took those justifications in my marriage, and then I acted the same way I saw my father act with me is the way I acted with my wife. So when when I was little, I would get in trouble with my father would ignore me. And my father, when I was little, and God bless him, and I've made peace with him, and I love my father, but I couldn't stand him for years.
Right.
Didn't talk to my father for the last 6 years of his life. Didn't talk to me. He had cancer, wouldn't talk to me.
Wow.
And And that's what I learned. That was the example that I learned. That's why when I hear your story about your life, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, you should be out there just shooting people every day. It's like I remember I still remember the first time I heard you speak on stage, and I was sitting there with I think I was with Alice and Michael, and like we're all sitting there crying, like just inspired by you, and I remember exactly where it was. So the thing is that what happened in that moment is that when I left I saw that I needed to change. I had to change, not for the sake of the marriage, but for the sake of my own life. Because if I didn't change, I was going to have the same result over and over and over and over.
So do you ever wonder, since you came to this crossroad not so long ago, that you realized you were doing to your wife what your father had done to you? So do you go, well, if I was doing it to her, what about you two, meaning your sons? Have you had that conversation?
Oh, absolutely.
And was there some splash of it onto them?
Yes.
That now 100%. Able to change?
Yeah. Well, I'll say the last part.
Like once you see it there, you look over to the next two,
Oh, they're just like me. They're just like me.
So how's that working to say, look, I'm changing it? What I'm getting at is the generational cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it too late to break it because you didn't know you were pouring it into them, but now you do? How are they learning through your experience so they may not have to deal with divorce themselves one day, should they get married?
With my kids is I look for opportunities to have conversations with them. But I'm not like looking for an opportunity. Like my goal is to teach you. Like, that's not my goal. My goal is to be the best example myself as I can be, to be the best man I can
teach you.
And that would teach you, as well as, this is the other part there, Lauren. The other part is that when you're that, opportunities show up. So now my kids ask me questions. They'll say, Dad, what about this? What about this? I'm going through this. And then I have opportunities to look and see how I used to address just the moments, because it's just a moment that you get to address something, how I can address the moments and be someone that encourages, but not the way that I thought I should encourage, the way they need to be encouraged, which is the difference. See, when my kids were little, they played sports. And I got to coach. I loved it. I went to coach, so I coached their baseball.
Like a coach.
So I got to coach their baseball and all their sports that they did. And I was a part of all that. And so I'd watch them play, and then we'd talk, and I'd say, I'd say, you did a great job, great job. And then, but how about this? How about this? How about that? And I would talk the way that I would talk to try to help them become better. And then one day I got a 5-page letter from my son, Diego. And he said, how, and the letter's right here, I could pull it up, and it said, it just told me how my coaching, how my talking to him just discouraged him. It didn't inspire him. And how all I did was point out the negative. Now, I'm telling you, Lauren, I didn't just point out the negative, but somehow in the way I was speaking, that's all they heard.
How interesting.
I
say how interesting, because that's a great place for us to take the first break, the only break, and segue into the book, because you do have the book, which you're about to release, the second edition, The Curiosity Theory, Transforming the Way You Communicate. So a lot of people go like, what the hell? What's he know about communicating? Well, I've got the book, so I can tell you quite a bit. We're going to learn more about that and dig a little deeper when we return. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back.
This world is changing more and more every day, and we've decided to change right along with it. My name is Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the president of Trajectory TV Network. At Trajectory, our vision is to provide a creative platform for top content creators and storytellers from around the globe. We're also dedicated to providing this world with content that is healing, educational, empowering, exciting, and above all else, entertaining and transparent. So right now, I invite all of you who believe yourselves to be global game changers to use the link found here and simply take a chance. Schedule a virtual chat where you'll have the opportunity to share your vision for your very own global television show with me, the network president. So use that link, and together, let's begin changing and healing this world, one story at a time. And remember, whether you have years of experience in front of the camera or zero experience, it doesn't matter. What matters the most is your desire to share great content through television and a willingness to share it with passion and with purpose. You might ask, how do I know if I've fallen in love with my purpose and my purpose has fallen in love with me? It's easy when you've lost your voice because you just can't stop talking about it. I'll see you soon.
Good old Stephanie Olsen. Just love her face. Just love her face. Oh, she's Dr. Stephanie Olsen now. Congratulations, Stephanie. And yeah, if you want your life to change and you think I can be the person to help you, I'll listen. Um, I'm just saying, you guys, before I get Martine back in here, because I just love this guy and I love his courage. Love his courage. I know a lot of people that would have run and hidden, especially out there where you're, the face you put out to the world out there on the West Coast. I used to live there. It's everything. It's like the equivalent of when we're in high school or you go to school, it's your entire world. It's that kind of a thing. And I watched closely as Martine navigated his way through that most difficult time and then was amazed how quickly he pivoted and turned it into good for others. And that's why I say I learned never. Here's the thing, and I'm going to get him back in here. We should never, ever, ever, never lose sight as we become masters of anything that we're still the students of everything. So think about that one. Okay, Martine Lopez, welcome back to the show. Let's talk about first men's breakthrough, because that's new.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what that's all about, and then we'll circle around through the rest of the interview back to your original book that you're about to re-release. So let's start with this new piece. What's this all about?
So men's breakthrough. So the title is it's a program for men, so that we could just that it's like a wall, this is the wall here, right? We got a wall, and life doesn't stop. What did you say about God? God's always going to give you stuff to deal with, right?
All the time.
And we're always going to have something to deal with. So we're always going to have opportunities to be confronted. We're always going to have barriers. So that our job as men, and it's a women's job, I believe, as well, but I don't speak for women, I speak for men.
Right.
So our job for men is to break through those barriers, to break through those walls. That's what it is. And in essence, that's what life is about. It's about breaking through. It's about constant breakthrough. So it's the reminder, men break through, men break through, men break through. So it's men's breakthrough. And that's what I work with. I work with men that
I'll
are
tell you why it's so important. Why I think it's so important. Okay, we see women, everything they do. I was like, I specialize in this for women. Women this, women that, me too, times up, on and on and on. Because they couldn't always do so.
Yeah.
But with men, I see the retreats and I see, the alpha this and embrace your feminine this and blah, blah, blah. but I don't see nearly as many men speaking to men and for men as I think we need. So what are you getting when men come? Are they difficult? Are they open? What are you finding? What kind of guys are coming to you?
Well, getting a man to have a conversation it's really funny because it's kind of the opposite of a woman, and I'll give you the example. So getting a man to engage in a conversation is a little tough, but it happens quickly. The moment that the man can trust you, the moment that men can trust another man, that they will dive all in. They're like,
Pour it all out.
I'm bringing it, brother. Like that. Women show up as I'm bringing it, and then once it gets real, they back off. And that's not a woman thing or a man thing. I'm just making a distinction like that. So that's kind of like the difference that people would see, and that's probably the biggest difference that I see, because I also work with women as well.
Yeah.
So and I work with men that are still married as well. I work with men that are single for all different areas. So, but the thing is that that's what I see is that men are looking for a way to speak, and there are very few men in this world that know how to speak to other men or other human beings. They know how to take themselves out of the way and listen. Like most people that are speaking to other people speak and they need to be heard. Like I'm speaking so that you hear me. And it's like, no. The person's listening so that you can hear them.
So what would you say, Martine, is the one thing that surprises most of your clients that you help them find out or learn about themselves? Because I'm intrigued, because I know I'm a man and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, well, shit, I think I know everything about myself. What could he tell me? I'm honestly,
Yeah.
but then I'm going, well, wait, how can that be? Because every day I stumble across something that I did not know about myself because I'm seeking, but someone is there. So what is it? What is that number one thing that guys in retrospect go, didn't see that coming?
Well, you first off, you do know everything about yourself. You do right now in this moment, everything. So it's what else is there to learn? I want to learn something else about myself. And that's where we start.
Do you think guys have a hard time taking responsibility or being completely honest with themselves? Because, a lot of us, that ego, and we've been just like your dad, ignored you, or we all know that silent treatment. I had a man in my life when I was growing up who just had to look, and you knew you were getting your ass toe up when you get home. You just knew it. Oh, shit. Right. And we don't see a lot of these thorns that these splinters, if you will, that are right beneath the skin. So
That's how we survive. We see the brain's going to shut off and not see things that aren't going to help you survive.
Mm-hmm.
The brain's job is just to survive. That's the initial job for you as a human being, is so that the brain survives. And what happens and what happened and what happens. So I say what happens, what happened, and what happens.
Got it.
Is that this brain of ours, this brain of yours, this brain of everybody's, gets an overgrown sense of himself, an ego. And he says, you know what? I got you. And you know who the brain's talking to? He's talking to the heart. And you know what the heart goes? It's like, hey, all right, cool. The heart doesn't have a problem with the brain taking over, because the heart doesn't have a problem, because the heart is just love. The heart it's just like loves you. Like, and it's like, so I'm going to go and I'm going to do drugs, and the heart's going to go, I just love you anyways, man. I just love you anyways. And then one day you go, man, I got to stop taking drugs. And the heart goes, yeah, you know what? You probably should. That's probably a great idea.
Oh, no, that's right.
And then if you can make it to the point of saying that you can say, I need to listen somewhere. I don't know where to listen. And I listen to God and I go, well, it's kind of here. This is where God's talking to me. It's not talking to me through here. It's talking to me through here. And if you have the ability to get your brain to stop and go, hey, you have something for me? You got something for me? This part of you will speak. Mm-hmm. This part of you will speak. And if this part of you has the courage to say, what do you want me to do? it'll say, this will tell you what to do. This heart will tell you what to do. It'll say, go be nice to people. It'll say whatever your heart's going to say. And you know what this is going to say? If it's vulnerable, it's going to say, your wish is my command. Your wish is my command.
I
But
like
that's
that.
all it's ever done.
Right.
That's all it's ever done, except for this when you were 16 years old, this when you were 5 years old, this when you were 30 years old, this part up here, this brain of ours said, your wish is my command, but it didn't realize it was saying it to itself. It
Right.
said, oh my God, men are like this, I'm going to do this. Women are like this, I'm going to do like this. Friends are like this, I'm going to do this. It came up with all these ideas, and it said, you got to do this to survive. And this just said, your wish is my command. And we didn't uncommand it.
Well, I got a question for you. I agree with everything you just said. Tell me about this. The minute you knew the world was going to find out that you and your wife were splitting, and it was in the heyday of the first release of your book, The Curiosity Theory, Transforming the Way You Communicate. Did you deal at any point, Martine, with the fear or the worry or the concern, man, I'm an imposter? Because how am I going to go out now? They're going to say, oh, how's that communication book working out?
Yeah.
But you couldn't even communicate with your wife. Talk about that, because that's a lot of the things. People are afraid of being vulnerable. They're afraid of being fallible, like as if just because you're doing something on Monday that you can't fuck up Tuesday and be back to the you were on Monday by Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people wait for somebody to stumble. See, and
well, people don't wait. People aren't the one waiting. This waits.
Oh,
this is the one that waits. It's not people, because people's the whole thing. It's not this. It's not this part of you. It's this part of you that waits. Yeah, it's this thing. It's this, like, you fucking piece of shit. I knew you were a piece of shit. I don't like Mexicans anyways, or whatever the word is there, right? Whatever the thing is, whatever the thing that's in the background that's going on is ready to pounce. And that's what people do. So I would tell the story, you've heard my story, right? When I tell my story, and I still tell the same story. My story is, one day I was driving home, and it was like, and I was talking to Yvette on the phone, and then blah, blah, blah. And that's how I wrote the book. That's still my story. And then I say, yeah. And now I'm going to be divorced. And they're like, wow, how does that work?
Right.
Because life works, because life happens. Life happens.
So did you ever find yourself having to, I would think probably against yourself more than outsiders, defend your sense of being an authority on the subject? You never did.
I would never defend myself of being an authority.
Because you're learning more.
But who's going to defend? Who's defending this? Not this.
Yeah.
So if you say to me, Martine, you're full of shit because you wrote a book on communication, I'm like,
right.
I probably am. But it doesn't mean that what I said in the book is inaccurate. There's things I don't have answers for. I don't have an answer. It took me probably a good year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I've been split up for 3.5 years now, right? 3.5 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been that long. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've known you for a minute.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 years.
At least.
God,
at least
time flies.
Yeah.
Mark. Okay, go ahead. And then I got one for you.
Okay. And I forgot my train of thought. That's okay. Go ahead.
I'm ashy. I'm like, you look awfully pale, Lauren. I was like, oh wait, that ain't pale. That's ashy.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
I'm
ashy.
ashy.
Let's do that real quick. All right.
I know it. I was like, oh my God.
Let's make ourselves.
Told you I slipped into. There. I'm glowing. There.
I love it.
No, I got one for you, Martine. Now, men's breakthrough. I have always stood behind the premise that there is always a breakthrough, a breakdown right before a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Always. You gotta have that thing that just, bitch slaps you down in a way in order to get through the thing. And the reason I love breakthrough is the key word is through. See, a lot of people give us information that is erroneous when they're supposedly, like when you were going through your divorce at first. Oh, you get over it. Oh,
Yeah.
you'll find a way around it. I'm sure you're going to dig from underneath it when the only true way is to go through it. Because then when you get through the other side, you've grown. You've grown through it.
Yes, but the platitudes, right? Those are great platitudes. It's like, but they have nothing in them. But they're great advice. It's like Nike, just do it, right? And really, that's the best advice. If you ask Michael Jordan, so how do you do that? He goes, I just do it. And so the truth is that is the truth. But there's another truth that exists. There's another truth is like, yeah, but it hurts. Yeah, but it hurts. Well, just get over her. She's a bitch. Yeah, but I still love her. And it's like, no, it's true. Yeah, she is a bitch. And it's good advice. And yes, I should just get over her. That's the thing. But the truth is that when you talk to men, it's like, yeah, but I love her, and I gave my life to her, and she gave her life to me, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't, and that's what's behind. That's what is. So we give each other good advice in little clips. Like I said, and I wrote that down, like that bitch, right? That bitch, like, yeah, that you're right. But there's how I feel. There's how I feel.
Right.
And I need to talk about that. And I need to talk about it with somebody that's not going to agree with me and just go, yeah, Martine, but I don't need the agreement. But I don't need to be attacked. I don't need to be made. I need to find a place that I can talk, that there's a degree of safety in it, and there's respect and there's trust. And that I know if I go down in this hole, if I go down in this tunnel, you're going to pull me up. I need to know that. I need to know that if I dig in and if I get lost, you're going to be there waiting for me. I just need to know that. And that's what.
Do you find, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Curiosity theory. Do you find that a lot of men, when they initially come through the door, they bring a lot of anger with them? Because that's the first thing. When I've been hurt, when I've been betrayed, when I've been disappointed by somebody, whatever it is, my go-to is surface anger. I'm getting better with it, but it was a defense thing.
Yeah.
People stayed away from me when they could tell I was angry, and that's all I wanted. Just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So I would do that. But what I didn't know is that it was becoming like an emotional callus, like a bunion over the years. And so talk about that part, dissolving the anger that so many of us carry from fathers, past lives, whatever the case may be. What's your recommendation to get started on buffing that callus away?
So this is what I'm going to suggest. If you're watching the video in the replay, it's about 52 minutes and 39 seconds. Rewind it to about 52 minutes, maybe 51:50, 51:30, somewhere around there. And then listen to what Lauren said. And so this is what happens, gentlemen. This is what happens, women, is that we ask a question. Human beings ask a question, and they tell you what the real question is. And then they ask other parts of that question, which are actually their resolve for that question. They actually ask their own resolve. They'll actually give you the answer to what they're dealing with. They give you what there is to break through. So we will say, what about this? And then we give examples, and we'll say what I said earlier, the because. We'll give the because. What about anger? So what about anger? And then you go, okay, great. So, and then we keep talking, and then but what we need to do is we need to stop, and then we need to go back. Well, let's talk about anger. Well, what about anger? And then the person will talk about anger. And then when the person talks about anger, then the person's going to understand what anger is for them. Mm-hmm. But what happens is as we have so much inside of us that we talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and we talk about all the things we need to talk about, but we never talk about one of the things that we need to talk about. It's like pulling one of those little pieces of what you just said in the 30 seconds or 40 seconds what you said, and it wasn't a rant. It was really clear. Let's take one of those little pieces out and just talk about that one.
Because there's clues in there.
What's that?
There's clues in there.
Everything. It's all everything.
Yeah.
See, the only reason that we talk, the only reason we talk is to resolve stuff. Is to resolve something.
Right.
So if you're hungry, and you'll talk to you'll say something to the waiter, and then they'll bring you food. There's no other reason to really talk about the waiter. Oh, you know what? I spilled my water. The water spilled. So I'm going to talk to the waiter who's going to bring me something who's going to clean up the water, right? the only reason we communicate is to get something.
Right.
It's the only reason we communicate, right? So all that we're ever communicating, in the way that I look at it, is what we want, is what we need. So you say, well, Jesus Christ, so I listen to every little one of those, because every one of those are important. If they weren't important, you wouldn't have said it. And so I take every one of those as important. So when Yvette says anything, or doesn't say anything, her silence is important, and what she says is important. Every single thing she says is important, and that's what's changed. And so then men would say, yeah, but okay, then the yeah, but is what's important then. Yeah, but all she ever does is this. Okay, I get that. So let's talk about the yeah, but. Let's not talk about what she said. Let's talk about that yeah, but what you just said. Because the yeah, but is, yeah, but I don't like listening. Yeah, but but so it has nothing to do with her. It has to do with you. Yeah, but do you get that? So it's about, so, okay.
So the workshop,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that word even came out. And we're just about out of time, but you guys, it is a workshop, this breakthrough workshop. And I know I saw something that speaks to the super simple 5-step process divorced men use to boost self-confidence, recover their swagger, unleash their power, and take their life back without spending years in therapy. That's just a piece of what you can expect. Where do they go to learn more about how to become a part of the workshop, when the workshop is, where to go? What's the best place to catch up with you on that?
So there's two different ways. They can you go to social media and just send me a message directly, and then we can have a conversation. We'll set up a time to have a conversation, or they can go to mensbreakthrough.com, and then there's a link where you hit that, and it's going to send you to watch a video. And there's a 40-minute video that I just kind of talk about a little about the stuff, and then after the video, then if you like the philosophy, you like the opportunity, then give me a call, and I'll tell you how we can work together.
Mensbreakthrough.com. Okay, I'm going to drop that link in the comment section at the conclusion here in just a moment. And then it's up to you what you do with it or not.
Yeah.
Those of you joining and watching the replay, thank you, and thank you. Head over and check out all things. There's not just the Breakthrough Workshop, but there's also that great book, The Curiosity Theory. So anything you want to say as a Jerry Springer moment before we say goodbye?
Jerry Springer moment. My kids will come and throw something at me or something, right?
No.
I'm not the father.
Right.
No, just thank you very much, Lauren. I love you to death. And I just want you to know, like you had, there was a woman earlier that talked about your coaching, and I tell you guys, if you're listening right now, if you want to have a real conversation, call this guy. Call this guy.
Oh.
Because I think I had probably 10 conversations with Lauren in my life. Every single one of them has changed my life. Every single conversation I've ever had with Lauren has made a difference in my life. Every single one. So just have a conversation with this guy. It will change your life.
I'm verklempt. That's Brian's word, my husband. I'm like, you're what? But thank you. Seriously. You see how I defend that through humor. It's uncomfortable hearing those things, but appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Because greatness is uncomfortable. Because just true greatness, true vulnerability, the truth of who we are is uncomfortable. But it is really all there is to embrace.
This guy's got a lot. Martine, you're welcome here anytime. I'm really proud of the work you've done and that the work you are still doing. And I'm going to be watching all of it. Come back anytime, okay?
I love you.
Love you too, man. And I love you all. And as I tell you every day, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So why don't you just agree to show up tomorrow? 8 a.m. Central, I'll meet you out front on the front porch where together we fulfill that wonderful promise that guarantees us of spiritual magic. It's called the 2 or more promise. So I'll see you out there. Get out today and be the change you'd like to see in this world. Get out there. Love you guys. Bye, Martine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.